Welcome. Life is like a box of chocolate. You never really know what you're going to get. I believe this to be true, and I believe it to be equally true when it comes to coffee fermentations. I can't think of one single thing over the last few years that had more impact on overall coffee quality, both good and bad. And I believe that when we have something as polarizing as coffee fermentations, what sets the really good stuff apart is going to be deliberation. So what I brought with me today is a coffee that I believe to be the perfect example of how deliberate fermentation can take coffee to that next level. Now, I'm going to start by pulling the shots for my signature beverage, the final serving, and tell you a little bit more about the coffee. The coffee that I'm using today comes from producer Maurizio and his farm La Negrita, located in the Tolima region of Colombia. It's a red geisha varietal. It grows in volcanic soil up on 1,800 meters. The fact that it's a red geisha varietal brings beautiful stone fruit qualities to my coffee. And the volcanic soil is very important because the soil is where we get all the nutrients from. And volcanic soil is famous for being very nutrient rich. The high altitude ensures a lower growing temperature. And this basically makes sure that the cherry spends a longer time on the tree. And this is really important in this case because it builds up more sugars. And we need all of those sugars for that deliberate fermentation. And this is how it's done. Firstly, the coffee is picked at perfect ripeness of 23 Brix content. Then it's hand sorted before it's cleaned with a sodium solution. And this sodium solution is really important because it ensures that the cherries are 100% clean before they go into hermetic stainless steel tanks. And in those tanks, Maurizio also put a specially developed coffee yeast. And what happens during the 70 hours my coffee and that yeast spends together is that the yeast helps breaking down the sugars in the coffee and build new beautiful organic acids that will generate new flavor notes of tropical fruit to my coffee. After the fermentation tanks, the coffee is taken out and put on raised beds to dry for a total of 4 weeks at controlled humidity of 50%. Now, as you can tell, this is a pretty extraordinary coffee. So when I roasted it, I wanted to make sure to maintain all of those beautiful flavor notes. So what I did is I extended the total roast time to 12.5 minutes with low energy in the beginning of the roast and plenty of development after first crack. I've also rested this coffee for 14 days after roasts. This ensures we have a beautiful, clean flavor experience. Now, the first serving today is going to be espresso. And I want you to please follow my instructions. I will put the espresso in front of you. Then I want you to evaluate that crema, but please hold off on tasting until I give you further instructions. I'm dosing all of my espresso today 17 grams for a total of 48 grams out. And there's two very important reasons for this. One, my coffee has more organic acids than a normal coffee because of that style of fermentation. So I need a longer ratio to make sure I get the perfect balance and extract all the beautiful flavors. The lower dose enables me to grind finer. Grinding finer gives me more surface area and allows me higher extraction and more beautiful flavor notes. It also allows me to get a beautiful tactile quality even with a longer ratio. Now, I want you to please note down as taste descriptors. We're going to find up front notes of sweet passion fruit, white grapefruit, followed by peach. We're going to have a medium acidity. That for me is tartaric. We're going to have a beautiful long aftertaste, really highlighting that papaya and that beautiful white grapefruits. For tactile qualities, we're looking for a low to medium body, think whipped cream. This is really velvety and smooth with a little bit of this zesty finish. Think grappa, okay? Now please take your spoon, stir that espresso for 5 times, have that first sip, and then just go for it. Now, for my milk beverage, I want you to please note down as taste descriptors. We're gonna find papaya and peach with just a hint of coconut in that finish. Now, milk also goes through a deliberate fermentation process. What happens with milk is that it's the lactic bacteria in the milk that over time turns into lactic acid. Simply put, milk actually gets a lot sweeter, a lot more acidic the older it gets. So I'm using a very fresh cow milk at 4% fat content, and it's only 3 days old. Now, I've also evaporated this milk, and it's a really simple process that you can easily do at home. First, you take 1 liter of milk, you put it in the pot on a stove. You need to control the temperature between 70 and 80 degrees Celsius. You leave it there for about 30 minutes, and what's gonna happen is that about 40 to 50% of the water in the milk is going to evaporate. And what you're left with is beautiful, sweet, and transparent milk. Now, there's one more secret here. I actually put 10% of coconut milk in here. It's just because I found the coconut really goes well with those beautiful tropical flavor notes that I have in my coffee. It also helps to build a little bit of texture and extra sweetness. Now, I'm pouring a total of 80 milliliters of milk into my 24 grams of espresso. And I'm steaming my milk to 55 degrees Celsius to give you that perfect, beautiful, transparent taste experience. I'm also minimizing the white part in my latte art to make sure that you have a perfect taste balance all the way through. Here we go. Now please enjoy. Yours is coming. And after this, I will be right back with that final serving. Please enjoy. Now, let's talk about that signature beverage. My signature beverage today is going to be chilled. We're in Athens, it's really warm, also inside of here. So I want to serve you guys something refreshing. So I've started by chilling down all of my ingredients and the glasses beforehand. Now, because the theme today is fermentations, what I brought with me are two ingredients that are both fermentations. Now, the only negative thing with fermentations is that they take a little bit of time. So these ingredients are all pre-made. But don't worry, we're going to start by dosing, and then I'm going to walk you through exactly how they're made, okay? So, the first ingredient today is going to be 25 milliliters of a yeast anaerobic fig leaf fermentation. When I'm adding this to my espresso, we're going to find new beautiful flavor notes of coconut and apples. The next ingredient is going to be 25 milliliters of a koji fermented red cherry juice. When I'm adding this to my espresso, we're finding new flavor notes of red grapes and red apples. Now we're going to stir that, let that homogenize, sit for just a little bit of time, and then I'll walk you through how we make these fermentations, okay? So, first ingredient is going to be that fig leaf fermentation, right? We're starting with 4 dried fig leaves from Bornholm in Denmark. We're going to put it in a pot on the stove. With this, we're going to add 400 milliliters of water. Now, we need to bring this up to a boil, then we'll let it simmer, and we're going to let that sit for about 2 hours. That's how we're extracting all the beautiful flavors. When that is done, we're adding 100 grams of a simple white sugar. After this, we need to stir it, homogenize it, and then we also have to let it cool down. Once it's cooled down, we're going to take out those leaves, and what we're left with is going to be this, okay? Now, for the first fermentation, we're taking 0.002 grams of the same yeast that Mauricio used when fermenting his coffees. We're putting it in a siphon, which is a stainless steel environment, same as my coffee. We're adding 200 milliliters of that beautiful fig leaf juice. Afterwards, we're going to seal this and put it in a temperature-controlled water bath of 23.6 degrees Celsius for a total of 3 days. After that, it's ready to be used. The next ingredient is that koji fermentation. So we're taking 0.2 grams of a koji fungus powder, adding it into that stainless steel environment, together with 200 milliliters of a red cherry juice from Denmark. You can use any cherry juice from the market. Now we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to seal it up. We're putting it into that same water bath at the same temperature, but this time only for 1 day, because fermentations are very temperature sensitive. And we need to control to make sure we don't have any unwanted alcoholic flavor notes, right? Now, it's time for us to enjoy this. And I want you to please follow my instructions. We're going to hold off on tasting until I finish that presentation, okay? For now, please note down as taste descriptors. We're looking at red grape, passion fruits, red apples, with a low to medium malic sensation, acidity, with a beautiful long-lasting aftertaste, highlighting that beautiful red grapes and passion fruits. Now, I want to thank you for the opportunity of being here today. And I want us all to remember that we shouldn't hesitate to open up that box of chocolate and embrace the randomness that life and coffee fermentation has to offer, knowing that in this industry we have some amazing people that will take that randomness and turn it into deliberate magic. Thank you very much. Please enjoy. And that's my time.